But let's touch base with Bismarck Rwani. Let's talk to Rwani when we talk about inflation, diaspora remittances, and finding oil at the Gongola Basin. Thank you so much, Mr. Rwani. It's good to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning, Bosun.
It's good to have you. So let's get started with the rainfall over the weekend and whether your office got a bit of that wet. We'll hope you are home and dry with this. So when we talk about ease of doing business in flooded Lagos, how do you think this will be resolved?
Well, I mean, my office was affected and almost everybody was affected. The reality is that there's been a warning about the flood situation in Nigeria, and typically we're not prepared for it, so we didn't make enough preparation. But in any case, we are where we are, and traffic was affected, output was affected, and generally speaking, it's good for power sector. The Kainji Dam is full, so we should be having less of water constraint, but also it's also good for agriculture. But generally speaking, it's a question of, are we always prepared for disasters? Not really. So we need to work on that.
Fixed. I'm sure you've listened to the governor over the last few days speak about the number of roads that will be repaired and all of that, the water transportation. Are you enthused by what you are hearing?
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm happy that Uber has already started a ferry service. I think we'll be heading for a helicopter service as well. But what's interesting is that urban transit is a major issue. And the fact that we're talking about it means that maybe next time we'll do something about it. But the potholes are a real problem. We are constructing too many roads at the same time, so it's disruptive. I've heard rumors that the toll gates are going to be removed so that traffic can ease up. But again, managing a toll gate and ease of traffic are two different things. So we need to resolve both of them at the same time.
So, congratulations that the NNPC announced that we now have oil at the Gongola Basin. Of course, this is the government via the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPC have been looking for oil since the last administration, even the previous one, in the northeast, and that unfortunate incident that happened with dozens killed the last time they went to the Borno State, the Lake Chad region. Now, all the way down a little bit is where we now have oil at the Gongola Basin. What does it mean in Nigeria's search for oil and economy still dependent on oil despite the talks about diversification?
Sense that there's oil in the Gongola Basin, but it's not surprising. There's oil in Chad, oil in Cameroon, oil in even in the Lagos area. So the fact that you have found an hydrocarbon deposit does not necessarily mean that it's commercial. So between when you find it and when it begins to gush, begin to give you cash, it's quite a number of years and a number of investments have to be made. So the work has just started. I would think that presumably it will be a number of years. Kenya is just exporting its first barrels, but they've been on this for upwards of 5 to 7 years. The same thing is happening in Ivory Coast, same thing happened in Ghana. So it's just the beginning of a long process that needs investment and needs commitment. So yes, it's good news, but there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of investments to be made, and we have to be serious about it. We can't go about it in the wish-washy manner in which we have gone about it in the past.
Oil is not going anywhere anytime soon, despite whatever. Nigeria is still very keen in finding oil in other parts of the country aside the original Niger Delta Lagos axis.
No, the truth is that we say we are diversifying away from oil does not mean that we are killing oil. It's not a binary choice. It's not either oil or the other sector. It means oil and the non-oil sectors are going to give us the growth that we require. We use oil for the immediate revenue, and we use the other sectors for the consistent and sustainable revenue. So that fits into what the president wants to achieve: growth, sustainable growth, accelerated growth, diversified growth, and inclusive growth that creates jobs. That is the mandate that the president wants. That's what he wants to achieve in the last 4 years of this administration.
Part of what the administration has been talking about, or which has been part of a conversation even before the current administration, has to do with diaspora remittances. which is one of the highest in the world. Over the weekend, there was certain conversations around where do this money go, $26 billion. Do you have any idea, Mr. Rewane, how this money is shared, or how does it go within the banking system, down into the economy, down into individuals, recipients, and all of that? How does it work, really?
No, the reality is that let us understand something. I saw $2.6 billion and I saw $26 billion. That varies. One cannot be 10% of the other. So definitely there's some accounting problems there. But reality is that every time a Nigerian overseas sends money home, either directly or indirectly, let's take a simple example. I give you, I put £200 in your account, and then you give my mother some credit and an MTN number. That is not captured as a remittance. It's there generally. So first and foremost, how many Nigerians are abroad? We have to know that, both documented and undocumented. We know the highest number in the US, followed by the UK and other areas. So we have significant amount of Nigerians in diaspora, in Canada. Are they remitting money home? Yes, they are remitting money home directly through the money transfer system of Western Union, MoneyGram, and others, but also through the informal system as well. Also through all sorts of transactions that are not captured. I would say in 2016 it was about $20 billion. In 2017 it's about $26 billion. That's what the World Bank says. The sources, they're not questionable. There's no doubt about the fact that over the years nobody questioned it. Then all of a sudden we say it's $2.6 billion. I don't agree that it's $2.6 billion. Definitely it's a number much higher than that. But we need to interrogate those numbers to ensure that the data has integrity. But definitely, it's not money that is shared. It's money that comes in and is added to your gross, what we call the gross national product. The gross national product as distinct, or gross national income as distinct from the gross domestic product. The gross domestic product, which is your $426 billion, is the total output of Nigerians in Nigeria. When you now take away what foreigners earn in Nigeria and add what Nigerians earn overseas, you have what they call the gross national income, which is naturally, for the case of Nigeria, is much higher than the GDP. And stolen monies that are money laundered, narcotics money, terrorism money, all of this added together gives you the gross national income. But to the extent that these guys will never disclose where the income is and it's underground, you will never know what the gross national income is. So people forget about that and use the GDP as a proxy for the gross national income. The reality is that Nigerians earn a lot of money. They remit money back. Doctors, footballers, lawyers, accountants, investors, and so many. So it's a good source of exchange, and it takes away pressure from the exchange rate, in the sense that if I send money home to my uncle in Nigeria, if I was living in Paris, my Nigerian uncle would not have to go to the bureau to change or go anywhere. He will use those dollars and fling those dollars in the market, and it reduces pressure in the foreign exchange market. So it comes back to the question, what do we do about the structure of the foreign exchange market? Right now it's a price discriminating monopoly, but that's okay for now. But going on forward, we'll have to look for a way of making that market more efficient, more sophisticated, and as we go into payment systems and efficient settlement, you'll find that market becomes efficient, and there'll be no need for exchange control, no need for restrictions. It will be a free market like every other part of the world.
Mr. Rewane,
and that's what is going to happen
is it likely
in the near future.
Yes, your organization, FTC, your survey, which you published mid last week, shows inflation will start trending upward from September. That's the data we are looking forward to from the Statistics Office. Give us your take on why you think, what are the key levers for pushing inflation to 11.22%, which you publish in your report.
And that's a marginal increase, but the point is that rice is 9% of the basket. Because of these distortions in rice price, the price of rice because of the closure of the border and other considerations, that alone is enough to push up the index, because you are comparing the price of rice at this time this year to the price of rice at this time last year. So two things are going to happen: food inflation, core inflation, and headline inflation. All of them will edge up for an aberrational reason, because of the border. Then it fits into the Christmas. Normally in the time, as we head towards Christmas, prices increase. So we've begun to see the price that bottomed out, like tomatoes and pepper and others, are now beginning to get to a bottom and start increasing again. So it's not surprising that but all of this is cost push and structure-driven inflation. But having said that, you know that there's a minimum wage discussion going on. I think that the minimum wage will be paid, or there'll be some agreement to that. Once you do that and you are effective from April, May, June, July, August, September, October, when you have this, then you will have the announcement effect and the wage arrears kicking in. It will have a temporary effect and push prices up in a particular direction, but then after a while it will stabilize because, like everything else, it is cyclical. The money supply impact, the cost push impact will now, and after a while, the market will absorb it. So, yes, we think that inflation will increase, but whether it's a trend or just a blip is another issue. We also believe that after the Christmas, in January, prices normally come down, and then things will actually come back to normal again.
Yes, Mr. Nwane, in just about a minute, your team, under the chairmanship of Dr. Doyin Salami, has been inaugurated. So you folks are hitting the ground running. What will be the first port of call? Would there be minimum wage? Would there be subsidy? What is the budget 2020? What will be the first thing you folks will be doing as per your meeting with Mr. President?
I'm not going to even discuss that on television. The truth is that our advice is in camera. What I'm doing now is just an analysis of what has happened. I'm not going to give you an insight as to what we are going to do. What you see is what you get, and what you don't see is what gets you. Thank you.
It's good to have you on the program. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Nwane, CEO at Financial Derivatives Company and a member of the Economic Advisory Council. Okay, let's talk about the global market space. Everyone is a little bit rattled with the trade talks. Now it's been done. Where are we going from here as far as the global markets? Let's read the tea leaves for you when we come back.